Nebraska and Matt Rhule just cracked the code. The Huskers have found the solution to a problem that has been haunting this program for years. Nebraska is 6-2, their best record in a decade. They are bowl eligible for the second consecutive season. There's a lot of positive momentum around this program. Many national pundits still expect the Huskers to be a college football playoff dark horse. So let's talk about it, because we know this team is imperfect. And yet, this solution, it's not flashy. It doesn't relate to talent. It's not advertised. It's not broadcasted. And when you look at the scoreboard at the end of the day, the results speak for themselves. There is a massive difference. We'll talk about what this fix is, what is Matt Rhule doing differently in Nebraska, and what does this mean for the future of the Huskers. So really quick, this is a loaded video. Hey, if you're having a good day, I know I am, hit that like button. And also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? For daily content talking Huskers, it's no brainer, takes 2 seconds. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. Nebraska has officially cracked the code due to Matt Rhule and the changes that he's made in Lincoln. We know this team is deeply flawed. It's imperfect. And I told you guys all offseason long, it's not about winning all the big games this year for Nebraska. Everybody was talking about the big jump, the big leap, making the college football playoffs, winning 10, 11 games. And I told you guys, in order for Nebraska to prove they're a different beast, a different animal, it's not about beating the Michigans. It's not about beating the USCs. It's not about beating the Penn States. We thought that game would be a big-time ball game, not looking that way anymore. But still, it was never about Nebraska winning the big games. It was always about the Huskers taking business in the games that they're supposed to dominate. The Northwesterns of the world, the Michigan States of the world, the Marylands of the world. And while those games have been very sloppy, they've been imperfect, they have been gritty, not pretty, Nebraska wins. Nebraska has won time and time again. Now, let's talk about this team specifically, because there are a lot of bits and pieces of it that have not lived up to expectations. Dylan Raiola is not the quarterback we thought he was going to be midway through his sophomore season. Again, he's had his highs, but he's definitely had his lows. He's contributed to losing football along with contributing to winning football as well. Okay, he is a very streaky quarterback. So while he's not the worst quarterback in the world, he's definitely not what we thought we were getting. The offensive line is one of the worst in all of college football. The defensive line is also one of the worst in college football. The wide receivers have not played well over these past 4 weeks, and yet Nebraska keeps winning. The coaching staff hasn't been phenomenal all year long. John Butler has had some trouble adjusting to be our defensive coordinator. Dana Holgorsen hasn't been the offensive guru we thought he was going to be. Mike Eckler, he's been phenomenal. But again, some of these positional coaches also really haven't been great. And yet, Nebraska keeps winning. So what's the secret sauce? How is Nebraska 6-2 despite all of these issues? You'd think with all of these issues, Nebraska would be 4-4. You'd think they'd be 3-5. And yet Nebraska's bowl eligible with their best season in a very long time. How is this even possible? It's because Nebraska wins in the clutch. This is what is the complete difference between the Huskers this year and every other team the past decade. You don't have to be a perfect team. This is something I've preached to you guys all offseason long. Nebraska can have flaws. Nebraska can have a lack of talent in certain areas. They don't have to have the great offensive line that we hope, that we want to have. And yet, all that matters is how you execute in the fourth quarter. You can make an argument that Nebraska was a more talented team in 2021, in 2019. Even in 2018, you can make an argument that Nebraska had more weapons. You can make an argument they had better future NFLers on that team. You can make that argument. But those teams we had in the Scott Frost era, while they had talent, you can't dispute that, they lost. And while they looked good in the first quarter, third quarter, they played all of these teams very tight, they lost when it mattered the most. So what's different about Nebraska is while we still are imperfect, we still have some huge talent issues. We need to address that in the portal. Nebraska, while they don't play very well in the first quarter, they don't play very well in the second or third quarter at times, they keep the ball game close and they win it in the fourth. And they have the mindset, the change that we haven't had in years. We didn't have that in year one. We didn't have that in year two of Matt Rhule, but he made that switch this offseason. Okay, there's a reason why we're winning in the clutch now. And this is not really related to talent. Number one, it's the mindset that these players have that was instilled by Matt Rhule, Dana Holgorsen, Mike Eckler. It's belief over fear. Too many times when Nebraska gets in these close games, like we could have lost against Maryland. We probably should have lost the game when Dylan Raiola threw that pick six. Probably should have lost. We probably should have lost versus Northwestern when that game was tied 21-21. Okay, we probably should have lost versus Michigan State when we were down in the third quarter. Okay, there have been multiple games where we're playing inferior opponents who we probably should have blown out and we're losing. And yes, the team isn't perfect. But yet, even when they're in these tight ball games, they have belief over fear. If we had Scott Frost on the sidelines against Michigan State, we would have lost. If we had Mike Riley, we would have lost. Because what would be the expression of our head coach? What would be the expression of our players? Oh, their heads would be down. They wouldn't be prepared. They say, oh, we're going to lose again. We've seen this story before. And yet, Nebraska, they turn around that switch this season. They said, we have seen this story before, but we're not going to do it again because we have belief in ourselves. So that's the difference between Nebraska of this year and the Nebraska of the past, is that even when we're in these tight ball games, you see the sideline, they believe in themselves, their teammates, their coaching staff, and they want to put on for their fan base. And they never give up. And that's all that matters. Okay, that's all that matters. What you do in the fourth quarter is all that matters. If you can keep it competitive and then execute in the fourth quarter, that's all that matters. I would much rather play only well in the fourth quarter and play terrible in the first and third, despite all of our issues, rather than play really well in the first and third quarter like we have in the past and then give it up in the fourth because you're not clutch. Nebraska has belief over fear. They don't necessarily have talent, as much talent as maybe they should. They don't necessarily have great execution in all three phases of the ball game, but they have belief over fear. And also, again, the execution in the tight moments doesn't look pretty early on, but when it matters the most, these guys show up. Dylan Raiola, he does not look like a very polished quarterback in the second quarter. Usually, we can't move the football in the second quarter. We have seen that in the past 4 weeks. Okay, the offensive line is not good, and yet it feels like this entire offense, when they need to go down the field and get a clutch score, they do just that. Everybody says, you know what? Why are we even in this ball game? Why is it even tight? We got to lock in and get a touchdown. Okay, defense is the same way, right? They need a crucial stop in order to beat Maryland. Done. They need a crucial stop in order to beat Northwestern. Done. This team's clutch, man. And also, I think this also stems from Matt Rhule. He's an experienced coach who's tired of losing. He's just tired of losing. Now, Matt Rhule is an imperfect coach. Very imperfect. He's very flawed. Matt Rhule is not a Tom Osborne. He's not a Bob Devaney. He's not somebody who is going to out-discipline and out-scheme opposing head coaches. That's not who he is. He's a developer. He's a leader of men. He's a recruiter. He's not X's and O's type of guy. And he'll tell you that. So that's not a hot take. But what Matt Rhule is, he's tired of losing. So there will be games where we're just not prepared. We weren't prepared for Michigan State. We weren't prepared for Maryland. That's his fault. That's the coaching staff's fault. And yet, he would have lost those games year one or year two. He slipped a switch mentally to say, you know what, guys, we weren't prepared. That's on me. But we're going to make adjustments needed in these tight moments. So kudos to Matt Rhule for doing that, because there's been the narrative within the first 2 years, he can't win the tight game. He can't win the big game. He's changed that. That's what's different about Nebraska. We are never going to find perfection. We're always trying to find, Dylan Raiola to be perfect, the offensive line to be perfect, this, that, and the third. There are very few times in football where you're going to play a perfect ball game, especially in the Big Ten. Okay, there will be areas of your team that just don't show up. And we know this team has flaws with the offensive line. It's not going to fix itself. The defensive line is not going to fix itself. Dylan Raiola, his flaws will not fix themselves in the last 4 games of the year. But what I do know about this team that you can take to the bank is that when this game is tight, potentially versus USC, versus UCLA down the line, Nebraska's going to come up on top. And I have not had that confidence ever before in this team. I knew when we were driving down versus Northwestern with 6 minutes left, I knew we were going to win. I knew when we were driving down versus Maryland that we were going to win. I've never had that confidence before, and I hope you have that confidence as well. So let's talk about the rest of Nebraska's season, because it is still incredibly advantageous. We're 6-2. We're flawed. Okay. We're probably an above average team. I'm not going to lie to you. If Nebraska played a really tough schedule like maybe what Wisconsin has this year, we'd probably be 4-4. We'd probably be 3-5. We would probably not make a bowl game. But we got dealt a very easy schedule, and we're taking advantage of it. We can't complain about the teams that we're playing. Okay, they're tough. I'm not saying they're not tough. Every single team in this conference is tough, but it's about as easy as it gets. And Nebraska, they're 6-2. And yet you think, oh, Nebraska might just lose out because we're not talented. That's not the case. Okay. Well, I shouldn't say we're not talented. We are talented. We're just not coached very well. We're not developed very well. But here's the thing. Nebraska can still win 8 games. Nebraska can still win 9 games this season. I mean, look at our last 4 games. They're still about as easy as it gets. You play USC, they're ranked number 23. They're 5-2. They just got blown out by Notre Dame. They can't stop the run. That's going to be a big-time environment in Nebraska. They have not shown the ability to win road games in those type of environments. Nebraska could beat USC. They're finally trying to get this big statement victory. It could happen. Okay, UCLA, that's a dub. That should be a dub. Okay, UCLA got blown out versus Indiana. Penn State, that might be the best team, or excuse me, the worst team remaining on our schedule, funny enough. They're crumbling. They have no culture. They have a million problems. Yes, they have a good running back, Katron Allen. They got nothing else. Again, that team, it's more than just their talent. They're crumbling mentally. And then you play Iowa. I mean, Iowa's looking good, right? But still, that game's a month away. We don't know what Iowa's going to look like at that point in time. Okay? They might have a different quarterback. They might have injuries. So, Nebraska could still very well win out. It's a possibility. But I'll tell you this, at the very worst, we're going to be in some close games. We'll probably be a close game versus UCLA. It'll probably be a close game versus Penn State. But we're going to win those close games. We're going to win in the tight moments. We have that clutch gene that you just can't define. You can't define it. But we have the players who believe in themselves and believe in their coaches, believe in each other in order to get it done. So here's what I'll tell you right now. USC is going to be a tight game. And it just will be. We know how it's going to be. It's tight versus Michigan. It's going to be a tight game versus USC. It's probably going to be a tight game versus UCLA. You probably want to go and blow them out. It's probably going to be a tight game. Probably going to be a tight game versus Penn State. We know it's going to be a tight game versus Iowa. It always is. But what's different is Nebraska can finally win them. So I'll just tell you right now, I don't expect to, if all these games are tight games going forward, I don't expect to win all of them. But I expect to win at least 2 of them, maybe 3 of them in that case. You just got to keep us around. If we can keep ourselves around and strike in the fourth quarter, yeah, we'll have a really, really good end to this season. So all in all, man, this team's not perfect. They have a lot of flaws. I think there's a lot of things that have not lived up to our expectations, but it doesn't matter, man. This team's above average. Sure, you could say they're average. You could say they're even below average. It doesn't matter. We win. We win. The results speak for themselves. The culture speaks for itself. And if you can continue to stack on victories, get to 8 wins, 9 wins, make a really good bowl game, have a great recruiting class, get some great players in the portal, you're looking at a breakout year in year 4. It's going to be a tough schedule next year, but still. Man, it's the big year in year 4. But you got to end this season strong. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below about everything. Hey, if you made this far in the video, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go be great, go Rhule, and I'll see you in the next one.